In the 1950s, one store fed more American families lunch every single day than almost any restaurant chain in the country. It wasn't even called a restaurant. It was a five-and-dime store called Woolworths, and it had a secret weapon hiding inside, a full lunch counter, right in the middle of the store, serving 25 dishes that have completely vanished from American life. A bowl of chili for 15 cents, a grilled cheese with tomato soup, a sundae so specific it had its own name. All of it gone, and almost nobody under 60 has ever tasted a single item on this list. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what disappeared, why it disappeared, and what it says about how America used to eat. Woolworths started in 1879, founded by Frank Winfield Woolworth in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, as a five-and-dime store. Almost everything on the shelves cost 5 or 10 cents, which was a big deal at the time. Most stores back then made poor customers feel watched or judged, but Woolworths let anyone browse freely without pressure to buy. By the early 1920s, Woolworths had grown into hundreds of stores across North America and the United Kingdom. Around 1919 to 1921, the company added something new to keep customers in the store longer, a lunch counter called a luncheonette. Picture stainless steel stools bolted to the floor, waitstaff in starched uniforms, and food that reached your seat in under 15 minutes. Here's the part almost nobody talks about: why the food tasted the exact same in every single state. Woolworths centralized its purchasing, its dishwashing systems, and even its recipe cards through regional commissaries. That meant a customer in Bangor, Maine, and a customer in Birmingham, Alabama, ate the same chili made from the same recipe card. This was the closest thing America had to a fast food chain before McDonald's even expanded in 1955. By 1930, Woolworths had roughly 2,000 stores in the United States, and the lunch counter became a Depression-era lifeline. Families could eat away from home for less than it cost to cook a meal themselves. After World War II, veterans, housewives, and teenagers all treated these counters as informal social clubs. Now let's get into the food itself, because this list reads like a museum exhibit of flavors America has completely forgotten. Chili con carne with crackers was the Woolworth signature, a thin beef and bean stew served with oyster crackers for 15 to 20 cents. Beef stew over toast was a Depression-era holdover, chunks of beef and carrot ladled straight over a slice of white bread. Chicken pot pie came in a square tin dish, diced chicken and vegetables under a thick crust, comfort food defined. Meatloaf with mashed potatoes and gravy usually ran about 40 cents, served with green peas or green beans on the side. Salisbury steak gets mocked today, but in the 50s it was a smart trick, a ground beef patty stretched with gravy and onions. The hot roast beef sandwich, dipped not poured in gravy and served with fries, cost 45 to 60 cents, the premium counter meal. Grilled cheese and tomato soup is arguably the most iconic pairing in all of mid-century American lunch counterculture. The plain hamburger cost roughly 15 cents and was flat, slightly greasy, and nothing like the fast food burger we know now. There was also tuna salad, ham and cheese, egg salad, macaroni and cheese with a crispy breadcrumb top, and hot dogs drowned in that same house chili. Add split pea soup at 10 cents, clam chowder near the coast, and cream of mushroom soup fortified with a splash of milk. Now here's where it gets fun, the soda fountain side of the counter, where the real showstoppers lived. The ice cream soda came first, fizzy soda water poured over vanilla ice cream, topped with whipped cream and a maraschino cherry. The egg cream, born in New York's Jewish immigrant communities, mixed flavored syrup, milk, and seltzer into something totally unique. Milkshakes were made with actual malted milk powder from Hershey's or Carnation, not the sugar syrup shortcuts used today. The black and white shake poured chocolate down one wall of the glass and vanilla down the other, a New York and Philadelphia favorite. Then came the sundaes, hot fudge with crushed peanuts, the banana split with 3 flavors, and the tin roof sundae named for its nut-covered top. Older customers swore the butterscotch sundae was the only one worth ordering, and the tapioca pudding became famous for an unlikely reason. In 1956, a young Elvis Presley joked about Woolworth's tapioca pudding on his first national television appearance. Every cherry on top was almost always a Luxardo or Erlanger maraschino, and during World War II rationing swapped it for paraffin-coated cherry. Customers could still taste the difference in for years. That's 25 distinct dishes, all served, eaten, and finished in under 20 minutes, most of them for under 50 cents. So why did all of this just disappear? The first crack came from a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. On February 1, 1960, four black college students, Ezell Blair Jr., David Richmond, Joseph McNeil, and Franklin McCain, sat down at the segregated counter and refused to leave. They weren't served, but their sit-in triggered a national wave of protests at lunch counters across the entire country. Within 2 years, every Woolworths in the South had integrated its counter, forcing the whole chain to reconsider what the counter even meant to its image. But the deeper cause of the disappearance wasn't cultural, it was financial. The lunch counter's profit per square foot was thin, and it needed staff the rest of the store didn't. Then McDonald's expanded in 1955. Burger King launched as Insta Burger King in 1954, and Wendy's opened in 1969, all moving into the same retail corridors Woolworths once owned alone. By the 1970s, millions of shoppers found a cheaper, faster meal just 3 or 4 doors down the street. Through the 70s and 80s, Woolworths quietly converted its counters into takeout delis and candy kiosks, chasing the cost out of the building. By the mid-1980s, the 5-and-dime model was gone entirely, split into Woolco for general goods and Foot Locker for sporting goods. The last American Woolworth stores closed in 1997, and the British chain followed, closing its final stores in January 2009. The old headquarters, the 1913 Woolworth building at 233 Broadway in New York, still stands today as a national historic landmark. One counter in Charlotte, North Carolina, at 32 South Tryon Street, still carries a small monument marking its place in the sit-in movement. Thousands of the original Woolworths recipe cards were rediscovered in the late 2000s, pulled from abandoned commissary warehouses by preservation volunteers. They now sit in Regional Historical Society archives and the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. A typical 1950s counter sat 30 to 40 customers, with a coffee urn, a soda tower, and a pie display all built to identical company blueprints. Every single detail, down to the fraction of an inch, was designed in a chain architect's office in New York and copied nationwide. So the real story here isn't just about food. It's about how an entire national culture can vanish in under 2 decades once the economics shift underneath it. And there's one detail from this same era we haven't even touched yet. Something about the counters that most historians leave out entirely. That story is waiting in the next video, and it changes how you'll see every diner counter you walk past from now on. Go watch it now, because once you know this next part, you'll never look at an old 5-and-dime the same way again.